Hi guys, what is going on, and welcome back to our Empire of the Rising Sun and our Japanese playthrough in Victoria 3. So, if you remember last time, things started to turn into a little bit of a debt crisis. We got massively in debt, and it's what I hadn't actually realised is that we had a 27% interest rate, which I suppose is pretty extreme compared to what it is at the moment. If the Bank of England base rate went this high, I would be homeless quicker than you could say rate rise. So, yeah, that was a little bit shocking, and basically all our money was going on interest payments. We are still spending 10k a week on interest, but we are really working to get that down. I just fast forwarded a little, played a little bit through offline because I wasn't really building anything, wasn't really doing anything other than just trying to get this gold reserves or negative credit balance to start to come back to the positive. And so we are at least coming up. So we've basically been keeping off the building queue. We did add an extra consumption tax on tea, which is absolutely sinful for a British person, I know, but needs must, and it does generate almost 5k a week, so it kind of was worth it. But we've got us back to a slightly better place, and a few other things have happened. Been basically racing the British to colonise New Zealand. We obviously last time got this little tiny little bit of spit of land on the North Island. We basically owned Wellington, which is kind of nice. And now we're basically racing the British down on the South Island of New Zealand and kind of splitting it right down the middle. But a little bit of a colonial war has broken out. The Inbigen have raised 3 garrison divisions, which are holding up against us. But we're sending our general down, and he's got 52 divisions, and he should arrive in 2 weeks. So I think that should hopefully tip the balance back in our favour a little bit. No one should really hopefully be getting involved. It would be very annoying if the British did go inside with the sort of natives. But I don't think they're going to, so we should hopefully be okay. And once our 52 battalions turn up, they're on advanced mode, so they should hopefully smash them. So, let's just continue at 3 speed. We also got our little, Solomon Islands, Micronesia, all the other little bits we've got. So we're looking pretty good. Obviously, our GDP has been a bit flat because we've not really been doing much growth because we've not really been building anything. We have got a lot to build, though, once we do get to a bit more of a positive balance. Although we are currently on a high tax rate and low government employment wages, so that is kind of tipping things against us a little bit. And it has kind of lowered the standard of living somewhat by, increasing taxes and lowering wages. So that's kind of not really necessarily a good thing. Anyway, so our units have arrived. We should now, in theory, be advancing, so hopefully we should start to push forwards. It's technically still classing it as a diplomatic play. I don't know if we actually can advance forwards until it technically ticks into sort of, open conflict mode. I'm not really sure. It's more just people sort of waving sticks and shouting to each other at the border. Although, I think we're going to go into countdown to war. Yeah, so once that kicks off, we then should be able to advance and hopefully win. And they've declared themselves neutral. Good, which is exactly what we want. Although the British are extremely dominant kind of in the sort of South Pacific, sort of around Indonesia, as well as the Dutch, who obviously own loads down here. I don't quite know where we're going to advance to next. I mean, we could start to pick off some things like Brunei, maybe, but the risk is that other countries end up getting involved, which makes things really difficult for us. Elsewise, we're getting towards the end of our technology on central banking, which should help reduce our interest payments a little bit more as well, and should speed up the rate we're starting to pay this off. But for now, let's break into our conflict. War has broken out, to arms! So we should, because we have such a dominant, progress really quickly, and then we should start to break into a little bit of a fight here. You can see all the gunfire coming out. So we're advancing. Oh, I've only been given 1 attacking battalion. That seems a little bit unfortunate. Even because we're seeing how much we outnumber them, we're actually going to lose on our offence here. I guess this is probably going to highlight how really we should probably be thinking about improving the state of our armed forces. Because if we go to buildings and over to our development, we just have irregular infantry. We could upgrade to line infantry, significantly increases their offensive and defensive attributes. It's just going to need arms, so we're going to have to build an arms industry, and it is going to cost us about 10 grand a week, which is quite a lot. But ultimately, the rest of all these nations are going to have much better infantry than we do, and if we're ever going to sort of become a major power, it's something I think we do ultimately need to do. This battle isn't really going very well, is it? Because we only started with 1 battalion, and we've got 100 dead already. Oh, and we were defeated. Okay, that's not quite what we wanted. Next time around, hopefully we can have more than 1 battalion actually launching an assault. That would be a good start, because the British are continuously racing ahead of us. Here we go, 2v2. And we're going to lose that one as well. God damn it. This is not going well. Are we starting to chip down their morale slightly? A little bit, but not exactly a lot, is it? Oh dear, this is not going quite as I had in mind. Although our balance is starting to look a bit more positive. Some of the first things we need to do, though, once we get back on the building, is sorting out some of our massive deficits. Grain, clothes, probably the 2 real sort of big ones we've got to deal with. We're actually also short on tobacco, glass, and we've also got paper shortages as well. So we've got a lot to deal with. Okay, it's nice. It's given us plus 10% on minting, which has increased our minting income, which is now really rather significant. A lot of that comes as well from our gold income as well, so up to 27k, and our interest payments are going down. I'm just going to run this deficit to 0, I think. Let's just get back, like almost restart. Now, given our grain shortage, I think maybe intensive agriculture is a good one to go for. Only 31 months. It's what I really want to go for long term, is identification documents for the taxation capacity. Would be glorious. I mean, that's what we need more than anything, but it's going to take 15 years to research, and I don't think I have that much patience. So, how are we getting on down here? We are still losing. Yep, not going all that well. I don't know, I'm having such a hard time advancing against them. I think we're just struggling to deploy our divisions properly. That's going to be another defeat for us. I don't know if this is because we have sort of quite low quality infantry. They're struggling to actually get deployed properly into battle. We're certainly not advancing the front line quite as easily as I thought we were going to. Although I suppose we'd ultimately have 52 divisions, so we can keep playing this game on and on and on. The defenders ultimately are going to run out of divisions, and that's going to be more of a problem for them. I think we keep attacking with the 2 sort of low quality divisions as well. I don't know if this tells us anything about Imperius, or we get to see some of his states expedition opportunity. Yeah, not quite going as well as I would like. Come on, deploy some new divisions, goddammit. Supplying the same old 2 crappy divisions every time. Oh well, we'll leave them to it when we go look back at the home front. So, I was having a bit of a play around with some of our markets and some of our trade routes, because we did have some positives in things like iron, our iron balance. So we could probably think about exporting a little bit more iron. I can definitely send some to the Russian market, but, you know, we can actually do both of them. It doesn't really have much impact. Oh, what have we got? Plus 10% influence, max educational investments. Oh, and that's public schools, loads of stuff. I'm still working on building up the industrialists, or attempting to at least. If we can get them a little bit higher, it's still my intention to try and get rid of serfdom as probably one of the next things we do. It really does need to be done. Let's have a look back down here. Oh, we're making some advancements. Oh, crikey. What's happened here? What on earth is going on? I'm guessing we captured quite a chunk of this, and we've now opened up quite a few new fronts. Okay. So where are you? What front are you assigned to? Oh, you're down here. We're having a battle in the middle of the ocean. Yeah, I'm not sure it was a victory, but I don't know. I'm guessing we started to capture some bits of this now, which is why they're losing so much more quickly. If we look, oh, what's their war support? Yeah, they're it's falling away quite quickly now. You can see the balance. There we go. Almost, I guess this is just wiping out the rest of the island. It's just gone from not a lot to complete conquest. It'd be nice if we took all this in the war. That would be absolutely glorious. And there we go. The mighty Japanese armies smashing them. And there we go. Victory. There's actually basically nowhere to send him to. Can we just annex that? No, we haven't got enough to propose the peace deal. Oops, wrong guy. There's nowhere really to send him to, is there? There is no available fronts because we just conquered it all. I guess that should tick down pretty quickly though now. I still don't want to accept defeat, but in time I think they will. Yeah, because look, 164 to minus. The war support is dropping away quite quickly. So we'll wait for that to tick down before we can sort of annex them, or whatever will happen. I'm not entirely sure. Our budget is still increasing as our interest payments go down. It should balance out around 35k then. I think probably what we'll do, we'll leave our interest rates high, but we'll bump back up the government wages. Which should hopefully then slightly bump up the standard of living a little bit more. At least that's kind of the hope. Then we're going to have to do some massive building projects. We've got so much to build. We've got so much deficit in demands. Particularly on grain, which is something that's a little bit concerning. I suppose we need to decide where we're going to do our grain building. I don't know where our sort of primary grain farms. There's some wheat farms down here. Now, are they really struggling to fill that? I mean, grain price should be high, shouldn't it? I wonder why they're struggling to produce grain. It's just the population's low. I mean, it's quite a large population. No reason they shouldn't be able to fill it. I guess everyone's just working in the gold fields. Which I suppose you can hardly blame them for. We've got some rice farms down here which are producing some grain. Could be kind of a tempting one to do. Are these profitable? Yes, they are. And fruit is currently quite expensive at the moment. So yeah, we'll probably work on upgrading these rice farms. They're actually quite productive. Although the area doesn't actually get a boost. I don't think we have anywhere that has a specific sort of incorporated boost on it. We go. Have we won this enough to do it yet? Still not enough. I think once they get to negative 100, they automatically basically admit defeat. So I think we'll get there eventually. Come on, our debt is almost down. We're getting 30k a month. We're really paying this down quickly. Come on, give me the whole island. I want to conquer the whole lot. Let's cut the British off. And have sort of a proper Japanese New Zealand. Would be really, really nice. But I suspect it might not work like that. Annexation? Oh, we do! We got the whole South Island! Yes! Get in! That is really nice. That is what we want. That is what we want. And we're immediately going to start incorporating that. A mere 21 years. I don't know if it has anything particularly interesting resource-wise. It doesn't actually look like it particularly does, although it has got some discoverable resources at some point on here. But realistically, it does actually have wheat farms, which could be kind of handy in the future. But for now, that does answer quite a lot. We also have got to do a significant amount of port building to integrate all these places, because if we look, all these places... South Island's actually in turmoil as well. Why are they actually in turmoil? Because they're quite radicalised. I suppose they're not particularly thrilled about our presence there. We've got to build ports, though, because that's something we really need to do, because all these places are disconnected from the market. And if you look, you can see we've got low market access to all these places. And we need more convoys as well, by the looks of it. Probably because I opened up quite a few trade routes, but hadn't accounted. Yeah, we definitely need more convoys. Oh, we've got a deflammatory article. It's printed. I've not really got the authority. I've not really got the authority to do that, to be honest. Yeah, we want people to sort of move to the towns. We can deal with a little bit of radicalisation, although we are a bit scary amount of radicals we've actually got at the moment. Okay, quite a lot going on in the world. Cool, so that should really stand us down. This is something we don't really have any interest in, so we'll declare our neutrality in that little bit of war as well. So, we're looking pretty good. I'm quite pleased with that we managed to capture a few little colonial places. I suppose now that basically all the colonisation down here is finished, we should try and pick somewhere else. What's the two we can do? Western Australia or Indonesia? Is someone on this island already? A bit of a mini revolution. We'll start to establish a colony down here. Oh, the Dutch East Indies is over there. I suspect they may end up trying to cut us off here, but we'll do what we can. We'll do what we can. Let's leave them to do their thing down there. And how we're looking. How's our debt looking? Pretty small now, down to only 750k debt. We're under the million, which is nice. I think we'll just keep running that down. Let's run that down to nothing. And then we're not paying interest, which is just sort of eating into our weekly profit otherwise. And that's kind of what's going to be most expensive. First things I think we'll build is our ports. We'll get them sort of queued up. I suppose in theory we can pause all and then let's go and find where we're going to build. So Micronesia, tiny population. I mean, it's almost not worth building a port on because of how sort of small it is. Oh, we have got a port down here, but it's not even fully employed. Solomon Islands, I don't think have got a port. No. So we'll build them a port. Slightly larger population, but still absolutely tiny. You need a port in here. And we need a port down on the South Islands as well. Connected all up. Slightly larger population, but still not exactly anything huge. Beyond that, so how's that going to take us? It's going to take us quite a while. It won't tell us the actual queue length. We need to think about what we're going to build from there. Actually losing population down here as well. I might, to try and increase the standard of living, let's put the government wages back up. It doesn't cost us that much more. And see if that makes any sort of marked improvement on the overall standard of living, or if it's more the tax rate that is the problem. But here, probably textile mills are we going to build first? We've got enough fabric. There is a bit of a silk shortage and a dye shortage. Oh no, we're going to do rice farms. That was it, wasn't it? Rice farms, rice farms, rice farms. Because of the food shortage. Let's just get these up massively. Let's just get them up to level 10. That'll ramp up production significantly. It'll fill a lot of population. You know, anyone who's unemployed will be able to move from subsistence farms over to proper farming, which would be nice. It should be well worth having as well. Trying to see if that's made any sort of real impact on the overall wages. Not in the trade centre, government administration. Because really, that should be how much they're making. We could probably try and push the paper price down a little bit more as well. We've always struggled to keep on top of our paper demand. Even though they're making loads of money here, you know, we should be able to knock this up a little bit more. Although we probably need another bit of a upgraded sulfur mine. Where have we built that? Can anyone remember? Ah, down here. It's quite profitable, so we'll build one more sulfur mine. And then that should mean we should be able to upgrade our paper mill a little bit more because we're still in profit on wood. So we'll set that off. So when do we commit to kicking off our building queue? I think we might go for less. I think it's going to leave us still in profit if we resume that. We should actually have a... Do we have a... No, we don't have an investment pool. That's a shame. If we're still going to stay 15k in profit, that's still pretty neat because we're going to be starting to build up our gold reserves and building, which will be pretty nice. We have got like a 3-year construction queue. If we're actually making so much money, do you think we should build more construction buildings? Could be worthwhile doing, couldn't it? It will cost us more to maintain them, which is important to know. Let's do it. If we do that, let's pump these up the queue. Up, up. This isn't the easiest. I wish there was a centre top button. We'll put you there. And then up, 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 up. What a ridiculous way of doing it. There we go, like that. Because we're still 17k in profit. I wonder if now starting large construction is going to cause material shortage. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, because look, now the construction industry is taking quite a lot more tools, so that does put them back. It's forced the price of tools up quite a bit. Price of engines is still relatively low. Price of iron is actually going down. And the price of oil up slightly. Huh, that's kind of interesting. I did manage to find someone to trade a little bit of oil with, which is kind of nice. Oh yeah, we built a thing down there. Ooh, wrong button. Keep pressing tab. Are we going to get this little bit built? 15 days. That would be nice if we did, wouldn't it? 13 days. Can we nick a little bit of this island? Which market are these? Being colonised. It's a decentralised nation. We might be able to colonise this whole lot. We get a foothold. That would be nice. I don't even know where this actually is in real life. Is this like Java or something? Or is it just part of Indonesia? Probably just part of Indonesia. Hey, there we go. We have our little bit of a colony. And we're now starting to push inwards. Which is nice. We've got the Dutch East Indies, which is pushing in from both ends. But if we can grab a little bit of kind of the area, that would be kind of nice. We don't know what's there resource-wise. There's an iron mine, some logging camps. We've got bananas, coffee as well, and tobacco over there as well. All very interesting, which is nice. Our GDP is back on the up as well. As things start to increase, got our 2 ports coming along. Things are looking pretty good, I think. Our debt should almost be back to 0. It is, going right the way down. Technology should be coming along quite nicely, which again it is. I think the Japanese Empire is looking pretty positive. Some of the next steps are going to be where can we start to pressurize in terms of conquest. See, there is places like Brunei, which is an interesting option. I don't think I want to get involved anywhere where the British are because, frankly, they've got a lot more divisions of me than me, and I think all going to be a lot more better quality as well. I don't really want to go to war with the Spanish. Someone like Brunei, I think, is just an independent nation. Or we could move some of our interests to somewhere like Indochina. Because there's a couple of basically non-conquered regions. You know, we could try and go for Vietnam. You know, that's always worked out well for everyone in the past. Could be an option, though. Maybe we should do that. Where's my declared interests? Indochina, Manchuria. Let's take off Manchuria and instead declare an interest in Indochina. Now have a look at our diplomatic options. Oh, perhaps it takes time for our interest to come into play. I think it does, actually. Yeah, we're losing our interest in Manchuria, which is fine. I mean, I'm not going to be going to war with China. Let's face it, they're enormous. They've got a GDP of 158 million to my 32. Don't really fancy that sort of odds. Our construction queue is stacking up. It's obviously costing us more to run day to day, but we know that, we expected that, and that is kind of the point why we're doing it, because it means we can actually, you know, start to build things quicker. Should be able to knock all these rice farms out fairly quickly, and that should hopefully solve our kind of increasing grain deficit. Because if that keeps getting larger, our fruit deficit is quite significant as well. Because if this keeps getting larger, then that's pushing up food prices for ordinary people, and I think that's kind of why our standard of living is kind of going down. I mean, that did cost me quite a lot. We are pretty much back to sort of break even. Okay, so we lost our Manchuria, gained our Indochina. So if I now look at conquering states, yeah, you see there's quite a few areas, isn't there? Portugal has an interest. They're actually not in a particularly small nation, which does have a risk. Do we have a navy? We have 0 flotillas. Wow. Oh, that's something we've got to think about as well. Why are radicals on the increase? No, industrialists aren't really increasing quite like I sort of hoped they were. Shogunate still fairly dominant. And the peasants are unhappy, as always. Seems to be perpetually the case. So we are going to have to think about building a navy as well. Which isn't quite what I wanted. 51k debt left. Nearly there. And all our building queues are coming along quite nicely. This should be starting to cure our market access problems. I guess this is one place we haven't built a port. Where's our island? Over here. So I suppose if we keep expanding down here, we probably should. Would make sense. Our GDP is on the way up anyway, which is nice. And I suppose we've got to decide what we want to do with our little colonial micro islands. You know, they're just all subsistence stations now, and we could build like a banana plantation or something. I mean, do we have anything useful? Coffee? Do we have any coffee demand at all at the moment? I don't think we do we? I don't think we're producing any coffee. No, just tea. Kind of interesting. Would be interesting to see what we could do with that. At some point in the very distant future, I'd also like to knock Russia out of my little island as well, but look, they've got 338 battalions, and they're significantly more powerful than me. I've actually even nicked a little bit of the Ottoman Empire. Oh, they're at war with someone as well. Prussia, by the looks of it. It's kind of interesting. Where are we? Anyway, our building queues are progressing apace, which is kind of nice. We're going to get onto our rice farm shortly. I'm hoping this is going to kind of significantly increase the amount that we're producing. At least that's kind of my dream. Steel mill's producing money. Is the price of steel low, is it? No. price of coal is high. We can see what we're in deficit of. Coal, glass, tools, hardwood. Yeah, a little bit of steel, but not a lot. Dyes and silk. We can actually probably increase. We've got a dye farm somewhere, haven't we? Is that our main dye plantation there? I think it is. And then, is it here we've got our main silk plantation? No. Somewhere I've actually got an area that's kind of my main silk producing area. Yeah, here. So that's in positive. So let's knock that up a little bit more as well. The 14th best silk plantation in the world. We can actually see, I think, if you go to a specific thing of who's the main producers of stuff. So you can see we are the 6th main producer of coal, but only 584 compared to Britain's 3.4k, which is quite a lot. I don't know what's the sort of main thing we produce. Not even grain. Wow, we're miles off compared to China. Yeah, a lot of these places are producing vast quantities of stuff like this. And we are the 3rd biggest producer of tea, which is kind of nice. I suppose we can keep knocking out tea production because it does give us prestige. I don't think we're ever going to get to the same level as China, but we could get into 2nd place and overtake the British Raj, which would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Production's going on nicely down there. We've got rid of most of our low market access problems as we keep going down that along. And as we get to the next production technology, hopefully the intensive agriculture should increase the sort of GDP because we're going to be able to bump up all our farming problems. What's being researched down here? Enemy economy of scale building cap limit. Nice. Paper bleaching for paper mills. That would be handy. Papers are kind of quite a shortage for us. Quite a perpetual problem that we face. Are we now into positive? We are! We're actually building up our cash reserves. Yeehaw, that's nice. That is really nice to see. It's been something coming for a long, long time. Now we're doing that. If I did lower my taxes back to this, it would put us into the negative. I mean, people would like it, and it probably would increase our standard of living slightly, because our standard of living is on the decline, probably because we do have quite a high tax rate. I suppose we could get rid of something like a liquor tax, consumption tax. That might help people. Let's do that. How do we scrap a tax? Let's add a tax. Consumption tax. We are not collecting. Okay, there we go. So that's got rid of that, because all the peasants basically are drinking. So I'm assuming that's going to hopefully please bump up the standard of living. It's getting too low. And if it hits too low, then that's just going to really radically increase radicalization. Textile mills, rest of questions, who should get the credit? We want the industrialists to keep growing because that's who we want to be able to pass our laws. Particularly, we want to be getting rid of serfdom. Nice. Okay, that's that gone through. Still building up our rice farms. Down here. Just increasing quite a lot. That should start to lower the price of grain, hopefully. Although we're not exactly producing loads of it, are we? Oh, we are going to have to start producing fertiliser, aren't we? Maybe we can just import it. Maybe that's as easy. I don't think we produce any fertiliser, do we? It comes from, I think, livestock buildings. Probably, yeah, you have to go to intensive graining. Oh, intensive agriculture does allow us to produce fertiliser. Well, we'll do that when that happens. Although it costs more grain, but it does mean we produce more fabric as well, so that's never a bad thing. Particularly as we expand our textile mills, which is kind of important as well. Anyway, let's flip on to a little bit of 4-speed and continue advancing apace. A little colonisation here is going along quite nicely. Still got an enormous building queue though. And we're not really growing massively on our GDP, which is kind of a shame. I feel like we've hit like a little bit of a period of stagnation. But hopefully as we continue to expand, we want to kind of be getting that up. Where is our main tea producing area? I've got 4 built there. I suppose it's easiest just to look on the building queue, isn't it? T. It's just sort of spread all over, really. We don't really have one main area. Here's a relatively poor area, I think. Yeah, so we could do our tea production over here. Let's get that up. It is profitable. And then we can maybe think about trying to export some tea from them as well. Yeah, let's get our production up. Let's just get our base resource production up again. I think that's maybe what we've been kind of lacking on a little bit recently, and that's what's driving or sort of stagnated us. We've sort of been sorting things like, you know, trying to sort our clothes shortages and stuff like that, but we've done very little to increase our base exports. And we've got so much plantation land available that we just aren't using, that maybe it's trying to knock some of this stuff up, and if it's too much, we can just export it. And that's probably what I suppose we should be doing. Because we can actually see on the markets what we don't have too much of. And we want to see low prices. So oil we know we've got too much of. So we're producing an excess of sugar, which is driving the price down. And an excess of lead as well. So let's have a look if we can export sugar and lead. Not that one. Trade routes. Export sugar. Oh, we've got some lead here. Yeah, we can export a bit of lead to the British market. Yeah, let's get rid of a bit of that as well to the Russian market. Nice. That should hopefully kind of deal with a few of those things there. We know we've got an oil that we could get rid of, but no one is really using oil yet. So that's kind of why that doesn't work. Oh, we can export some train engines to the British market, because they're also something that we really kind of have had too much of. Because our base, even though we've only got one basically train production factory, it's still too much, and we're still producing far too many of them, which is not ideal. Let's have a look. What are we subsidising? Oh, the railways. Fair enough. Yeah, our budget is getting a little bit low here. But there we go. Look, our GDP is starting to tick up a little bit more. Gold discovered in Tasmania. Okay. Yeah, a little colony over here is starting to get quite nice. Are these still deeply unhappy? Yes. It's going down slowly as we incorporate it as well. Population declining. It's contributing 0% to the Japanese GDP because it's so low. I kind of want to build out some of the plantations on these sort of mini islands just so they perhaps a little bit more productive. I don't know if that's kind of useful or not. So all our rice farms got built up down here. So let's check all they've been stocked out properly. They have, fully staffed, should be producing quite a lot more money now. Should hopefully, it's not going to have shifted the grain imbalance, but at least it's gone some way to mitigating it. Not even shifted the fruit imbalance, to be honest, either. It's perhaps not producing as much as I thought it would. How much is that going to add? Plus 300 grain is quite a lot. So that will probably increase the output. Well, it's going to almost double it. Certainly made them some of the most productive rice farms in the world, anyway. Getting construction on our paper mills. Oh no, some of our gold fields have depleted. 5% become more radical. Or migration attraction. Oh no, that's not so good. We've had gold mines for ages. Oh, we have to go to mines. Okay, they've been doing gold fields at the top. Let's build a gold mine then. So I guess they've been like panning for gold on the surface and they found that quite easily. Now that's expired, you've got to actually shift it to actual mining production. Huh. It's kind of interesting. I hadn't considered that to be a problem. Well, there we go. Who knew? That's going to be a problem for us. That's lost our little bit of money. Our lovely little reserves of gold are now going to start to deplete away. Maybe we did get a bit carried away on the building queue. But hopefully as we build more, our GDP will bump up. Look at that, it's hit our GDP. Almost knocked 1 million off our GDP just with the gold running out. Gah, that is not ideal. That is not what we wanted. Has our standard of living increased at all? Not really, has it? Even though we lowered taxes. It's not so bad in the capital, but elsewhere it's kind of struggling a little bit. It's actually pretty good down here on the South Islands. Over here it's pretty poor. Pretty poor around here as well. I suppose we have to decide what they actually kind of do. What is their main use as an area? We've got massive taxation problems down here to deal with as well. Soldiers are complaining that they have no way to open their canned food. They can't get at it. You know, developing can opener for 5 years. Plus 4,800. Crikey. Now the samurai can have a lack of can opening technology. We just don't have that sort of money available, unfortunately. Come on, 8 weeks left on our technology. We are going to be there soon. It's one of the main things we need to get done this episode. Our paper mills are coming online, so that should hopefully drive down, as this comes on, should drive down our government costs because paper is still in shortage. So that's why it's kind of overpriced. I want to drive the price down to be slightly underpriced on paper, and then that should hopefully lower our costs. There we go, they're going down already. Because basically our government goods for government buildings should go down. Oh, a little bit of a war with Russia. Britain's managed to claim a little bit of Finland. Interesting. Huh, that didn't go out very well for the Russians, which is good for us. I'd rather see the Russians slipping slightly than the other way around. As long as they don't end up with a war in the British over New Zealand or something, which would obviously be pretty unfortunate. There we go, intensive agriculture unlocked. So we've got to pick our next technology. We could do paper bleaching. We can do nitroglycerin, which increases our mine production, although I think it's a little bit dangerous. Steam donkey improves fertilizer. It's for steel production, but we're not really that short on steel, to be honest. Is there anything that's going to help us militarily? You know, maybe skirmish infantry, field works, which is army defence. All these things aren't really going to help us in terms of cost, are they? Which is probably our main problem. We could just commit to something like that, but 13 years, such a long time, isn't it, for something like that? Max cash reserves. Modern sewage could be interesting. Maximum infrastructure from population. Let's go for that. And let that sort of work its way through. So yes, hopefully as these paper mills are online, we're going to get back to hopefully sort of a vaguely neutral balance. That's kind of where I would like to be. Then we've got our mass of tea plantations to bring online. We've got our gold mines to bring online and our little silk plantations to come up as well. So we'll look what we've got going on. Some high tensions. We know they're in turmoil. We've got a port building there. We know we're short on taxation capacity everywhere. We've got some unproductive trade routes. Well, let's just cancel them off then. There's no point having those. And let's just check our market demands to see where we've got an excess. I find it almost easier to look for areas where we're basically producing too much and it's forcing the price down, because that means the mines start to struggle. You know, if the price is too low, then they kind of aren't productive. Everywhere else actually looks pretty good. We actually do need more teas. That would be good to get that sort of starting to ship out. There we go, look. As that paper mill has come online, I bet that's forced the price of paper down. Yeah, look at that, we're now minus 4%, which is what we want. Even though it's probably not good for the actual specific paper industry themselves, they're actually still in positive, so it doesn't even matter. Oh, that's fantastic. Very good, very good. And that's put us basically back to net neutral, which is fine by me. We'll have the next port come online, and then we've got dye plantations. This is going to solve our isolation problems, and we're all looking pretty good. We're still not exactly flying along down there. Anyway, intensive agriculture. That's what I was going to do. Back to our buildings. I almost completely forgot. So this is going to mean... So wheat farms, we're going to increase fertilizer demand. Let's just go through and do all these. Plus 630 grain. Crikey. We're going to have a fertilizer shortage, essentially. Let's have a look. Just wait for it to tick through. Yeah, so we're short by a huge amount. So let's import fertilizer. Where is fertilizer? Can anyone see it? Can anyone see it? I can't see it. I wish they... Ah, there it is. Had some better way of organising this. Crikey. This is not going to really solve much of our... Going to have a handful of these, basically. Because we're just way too short on all of them. It's still going to be too short. Yeah, it didn't solve as much of my problem as I kind of hoped. I suppose it should have alleviated some of our grain concerns, which it has, which is nice. That's going to make things hopefully cheaper for people and improve the standard of living. So then we need to think about, going back to our building tabs, and think about cattle ranches. Where's our main cattle ranch producing areas? Well, we don't really have one. Where's an area that's relatively poor? Raikou Island down there. Well, let's build them here then. They are quite profitable. Fertilizer is the biggest problem. I don't think we've got any way of increasing production towards fertilizer, have we? So let's just expand this massively. Have we got a meat shortage? Yes. We have got too much fabric, but that's fine because we massively need to expand that anyway. So let's just stack a massive stack of ranches. That should increase fertilizer production. We know we need to increase textile productions. We know that's a problem. We have our silk plantations going on at the moment. We have an excess of fabric already, and that's only going to get a bigger excess of fabric as we go through more livestock production. We actually have now an excess of dyes, so let's get them queued up as a massive increase to our textile industry. Because if we look, we can see that our textile industry is well short of what we actually need, and that's just for our own domestic production. So yeah, we need to be getting that through. Needing to be kind of increasing that as an industry fairly rapidly. So we've still got a long building queue. I think it's really about time we think about trying to embroil ourselves in a little bit of a war. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I'm still tempted to go down there. I mean, or we could go somewhere like here as well. Where can we go for that's kind of not going to be too much trouble? This is just a little mini state. It's obviously centralised enough. It's just a centralised slave state. God, they've got all the boosts on there, haven't they? What buildings does it have? Logging camps, plantations, sugar plantations, coffee plantations. You know what? Can we just threaten them and hope that no one else gets involved? You know, we're kind of small enough that hopefully these countries may join, but at the start of the war we'll only face them. Oh, but we can't without, because we don't have a foothold, do we? Oh God, what's going on here? We haven't got a navy. Yeah. That's going to be a problem for us, isn't it? We're going to have to build a navy. We have no military ship production at all. Let's have a look at building a navy then. I don't even know how you do this. So let's recruit a navy. What do we want? We want sort of a naval invader, really. Water chance, popular commander, cautious explorer, celebrity commander, cautious. Let's just recruit him then. So, how do we increase the amount? Do we actually have a military port? I suppose that's probably why we haven't got any, isn't it? So let's go to Kyoto then. Yeah, we have fishing wharves and everything, but I bet we don't have a single. Not shipyards. I want port naval base. That's what we need. It's gonna flotillas +1. It's going to cost us quite a lot of money to start to bring this stuff online, but we need some sort of navy. We are also going to be needing then military ship production. We've got a port, a shipyard around here somewhere, which is running pretty well flat out. So we'll push that up one more, and then we can strip that ship. Oh, I can't even speak English at all. We can then move that over to military shipbuilding production, and then we should be good, I think. Hopefully, if all goes well. We could also think about having another go at getting serfdom over. The samurai will really hate it, but you think the peasants would be kind of pleased about it. 14% chance. Let's give that a risk. It's going to cause opposition, but I think it's a risk worthwhile. Goodness, people didn't like that. That's caused us a little bit of negative income. That's going to mean our cash reserves are going to drop pretty quickly then. But our GDP is back to being on the way up, which is nice. We've got all our tea plantations are going through. probably means we're producing a mass excess of tea now. Well, the price is still too high, actually, which is not a bad thing. Still producing a positive weekly income, so that's all good. And our throughput should start to increase. Mechanical workshops. Oh, sewing machines for textile mills. Mechanized workshops for furniture manufacturers as well. That's a really nice one. Let's go back to our urban. So that's going to produce clothes production significantly. Tools consumption is going to increase. Fabric consumption is going to increase. Dye production. Let's do it. Same with this. Tools and wood. I bet we're having a real tool shortage at the moment. We are. I might then scrap a couple of these textile mills. And instead ramp up tool production a bit. The steel price is actually relatively high at the moment. So let's bump up tool production. And let's bump tool production up the list slightly. Where's it gone? Oh, it's so far on, I don't think it's even on the list. But we'll have our tool production when we get to it. Once it actually makes it to the list, I can bump it up the list. And then that should really give us a big boost to our GDP, because that should solve our textile crisis. It does. We're now producing too many clothes. From one extreme to the other. That should also really help our furniture. Still a slight deficit for that type of furniture. It's reduced it a lot, which is good. That's nice. Okay, those technology changes are really, really significant for increasing our output. Makes such a difference, doesn't it, to how much we actually end up producing. Our tea plantations are still coming along quite nicely. Look at that little uptick in weekly GDP. Nice, 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 nice. That is what we need. And that increases, obviously, everything else for us as well. We've still got our gold mine, which I think should be being built shortly. Our tea plantations are absolutely flying along. Because the Shogun aren't very pleased, we lost quite a bit of some of our bonuses, which is what they didn't like. Military good costs increased. Yeah, we also lost taxation income from the market, which isn't so good, but it will keep us going. I assume we're still in a paper positive, which we are, still minus 3%. Nice. 13.7%. Pretty unlikely to pass, but if we could pass it and abolish serfdom, it is going to be ultimately a good thing, because that is what is going to enable us to change our policy, which is currently really hampering our taxation. And that is what I think is kind of some of our biggest problems. We're kind of flicking between positive and negative. Look at our balance sheet. It's up, down, as these different effects are activated and disactivated because of our government position. But hopefully, once this gets all the way around, we should be able to maybe have the option of changing some of this stuff, and we can kind of see. Tea production is really sort of picking up quite nicely. We're still in a positive. I suppose they don't actually produce that much tea, even as all these sort of staffing stuff comes online. But hopefully, the actual weekly wage isn't too bad, and it starts to raise up the standard of living around here slightly. I'm also thinking that we should probably be doing something around here, because standard of living is pretty low. And that is not really very good. We do have fish production, but fish is actually already oversupplied. How about tobacco? Is undersupplied. So we can actually ramp up our potato, or even tobacco production, and then that should hopefully then kind of increase the standard of living, because it will force up the wages. And this is probably our worst region currently for standard of living. So let's do that. Cunning plans, cunning plans. We're going to have our gold mine come online soon as well, which I'm really curious about. How productive is this gold mine actually going to be? Or is it going to cost us more in resources to staff it than we actually sort of, gain from it? Are we still short on fertilizer? A little bit. But then we're getting quite a bit from our trade routes. But as these livestock ranches come online, that should kind of help alleviate some of that as well, which will be kind of nice. 5 weeks to our gold mine. We've got to see this come online. I want to see how productive this is going to be. If it's productive, then we'll basically just build them all out fully. I mean, you would think a gold mine kind of is. That's kind of, I guess, how you'd think of in games. You think gold mine. Always build gold mines. Always traditionally kind of the positive thing to do. Let's see it come through. 2 weeks to go, and then we'll kind of see it, and we can know if we need to build out the rest of these gold mines. Because this is a relatively poor area. It was doing really well when it had the gold rush, but since that's obviously collapsed. So we don't know. It's obviously going to require tools. Oh, picks and shovels, condensing pump engine, tools, and yeah, we'll definitely do that. I bet that's going to make it positive, isn't it? I bet this is going to be well worth it now. We don't know what its weekly balance is going to be. Because it's going to increase its minting as it comes online. God, this could be really good for us. If that's going to get it up to what? 1,250 minting. And this is a permanent gold mine. It only uses a little bit of tools and stuff. I don't think we are paying the wages. When the average wage is going to be quite high. It's going to push up our minting quite a lot, I think. I think we've found what we're doing next, lads. I think we're going to have a gold rush. Part 2 of gold rush, I suppose. Yeah, look at this is coming online. It's profitable. It's making cash reserves. Let's just wait till it gets up to full speed. We need to increase our coal mine production as well. Funny how you notice these things. Yeah, we're actually quite short on coal. Let's just get this up to full speed and let's see. If this is the case, then we'll do sort of 2 or 3 coal mine upgrades, just because I don't want to end up all my mines having a coal mining shortage. We have also got a tool shortage, as with everything. But yeah, look at that, 1250 minting. Let's smash these gold mines out. Let's get all this queued up. It's the final thing we do this episode. Oh, maybe we've got too much. Our construction queue is too long at the moment. Okay, we'll leave it. But next episode, let's get the coal mines online. Our coal mines are down here. Let's just do it. Screw it. Let's get them up to 15. That'll increase production a little bit more. That was nitroglycerin, which increases mortality but increases use, essentially. So we'll get this coal mine up a little bit more, and then we're just going to smash out all of these. Let's get them all built. That's going to increase us, well, we'll be basically 10,000 minting. That's going to be significant. That's going to really back up our income. Particularly this one will probably at some point transfer over, because that's what they were running on, 500 minting. It's basically going to double our gold income. Oh, that really will be fantastic. Well, the mighty Japanese Empire is growing once more. I think we are going to end up going to war. Once we've got our navy set up, we're going to start playing around. Sort of in Thailand, up through sort of Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, up into Indochina. I think that's going to be our main area we focus on. And actually, we're getting on not too badly with our little colony down here, which is growing at a pretty steady rate. So we'll probably think about also doing a little bit of production down here on something as well, because we want to try and get some of our colonies a little bit more valuable, because currently they're not doing all that well. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, do subscribe. This series is going to be continuing. Really been enjoying it. Thanks for watching, guys. See you all on the next video.